Most people don't wake up one morning with heart disease, and most people don't suddenly develop serious digestive problems overnight. Instead, the changes happen quietly. You notice more bloating after meals. Heartburn becomes more frequent. Your stomach feels unpredictable. At the same time, your blood pressure starts creeping higher during yearly checkups. Your cholesterol isn't quite where it used to be. You feel more tired than you did a few years ago. You assume these are separate problems. One belongs to your stomach. The other belongs to your heart. But what if they're connected? The answer may surprise you. Over the last decade, scientists have uncovered evidence that the health of your digestive system may influence far more than digestion alone. Research now suggests your gut may affect inflammation, blood sugar, cholesterol metabolism, blood pressure, and even the health of your blood vessels. That doesn't mean every stomach problem leads to heart disease, and it certainly doesn't mean improving your gut health can cure heart conditions. Medicine is rarely that simple. But understanding this connection may help you make everyday choices that support both your digestive system and your heart. Today, I'd like to explain what researchers have discovered about this fascinating relationship. We'll separate established science from newer research that's still being explored. And later, I'll explain why one common breakfast food that many Americans believe is healthy may not be the best choice for everyone when it comes to both gut and heart health. We'll come back to that in just a few minutes. First, let's understand what's happening inside your digestive system. Many people think of the gut as nothing more than a tube that digests food. In reality, it's one of the busiest ecosystems in your body. Think of it as a thriving city. Food arrives every day. Nutrients are sorted and delivered. Waste is removed. Security guards watch for harmful invaders. Communication centers send messages throughout the body. Behind the scenes, trillions of tiny workers keep everything running. Those workers are your gut microbes. Together, they're called the gut microbiome. Although they're microscopic, scientists estimate that trillions of bacteria and other microorganisms live mostly inside your large intestine. The word bacteria often makes people think of infections, but many bacteria are actually essential for good health. Some help digest fiber that your body can't break down on its own. Others produce vitamins. Some help maintain the protective lining of your intestines. Many communicate directly with your immune system. Perhaps the easiest way to picture the microbiome is to imagine a healthy neighborhood. When good neighbors work together, the community stays clean, organized, and safe. But if too many troublemakers move in, problems begin to appear. The same thing can happen inside your gut. A diet high in ultra-processed foods, not eating enough fiber, poor sleep, chronic stress, repeated courses of antibiotics when they aren't truly necessary. Over time, these factors may reduce the diversity of beneficial bacteria. Researchers call this imbalance dysbiosis. You don't need to remember the name. Just think of it as your gut losing its natural balance. Here's something interesting. Not everyone with an unhealthy microbiome develops digestive symptoms. Some people experience bloating. Others struggle with constipation. Some have frequent diarrhea. And many notice nothing at all. That's one reason scientists became so interested in this field. They discovered that changes inside the gut may influence the rest of the body long before obvious digestive problems appear. So how could bacteria living inside your intestines possibly affect your heart? The answer begins with communication. Your gut is constantly sending chemical messages throughout your body. Think of your bloodstream as a nationwide highway system. Nutrients travel along it. Hormones travel along it. Immune cells travel along it. And so do tiny chemical signals produced by your gut bacteria. When the microbiome is healthy, many of those signals appear to support normal body functions. One of the most important things beneficial bacteria produce comes from something many Americans don't eat enough of: fiber. When healthy gut bacteria feed on dietary fiber, they create compounds called short-chain fatty acids. The name isn't important. What matters is what these compounds appear to do. Research suggests they may help strengthen the lining of your intestines, support your immune system, and reduce certain types of inflammation. That's important because chronic inflammation has been linked with many long-term diseases, including cardiovascular disease. Notice the wording: linked, not proven to be the single cause. Heart disease develops because many different factors work together: blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, smoking, lack of exercise, family history, sleep quality, diet. And now, researchers believe gut health may be another piece of that puzzle. One fact surprises almost everyone. Nearly 70% of your immune system is located in or around your digestive tract. That makes sense when you think about it. Everything you eat and drink enters through your digestive system. Your immune system has to decide what belongs in the body and what doesn't. It's like a highly trained security team. It welcomes nutrients, works alongside beneficial bacteria, and blocks dangerous germs whenever possible. But when that balance begins to break down, low-grade inflammation may quietly develop. Unlike the swelling you see after cutting your finger, this type of inflammation is silent. You can't feel it, you usually can't see it. Yet over many years, researchers believe it may contribute to changes inside the blood vessels that supply your heart. That raises an important question. If your gut can influence inflammation, could it also affect cholesterol and your risk of heart disease in ways scientists never understood before? The answer involves a little-known compound that most people have never heard of, yet it's become one of the hottest topics in cardiovascular research. The compound I mentioned a moment ago has a very short name: TMAO. Most people have never heard of it, yet it has become one of the most talked about discoveries in gut and heart research. To understand why, let's follow what happens after you eat. Certain foods, especially red meat and egg yolks, contain nutrients called choline and L-carnitine. These nutrients are perfectly normal and can be part of a healthy diet. When they reach your large intestine, some gut bacteria begin breaking them down. During that process, they produce a substance called TMA. Your liver then converts it into another compound called TMAO. The names sound complicated. Fortunately, the idea behind them isn't. Think of your digestive system as a factory. Your gut bacteria are the first workers on the production line. Your liver is the quality control department. Together, they process what you've eaten before it circulates throughout your body. So why are scientists paying so much attention to TMAO? Several large studies have found that people with higher TMAO levels in their blood often have a higher risk of heart attack, stroke, and other cardiovascular problems. Researchers believe TMAO may influence how cholesterol is handled inside the arteries and how inflammation develops. But here's something important. Scientists are still debating exactly how much of a role TMAO plays. Is it directly contributing to heart disease, or is it simply a sign that other unhealthy processes are already taking place? We don't have a complete answer yet. That's why no major medical organization recommends testing everyone's TMAO levels. The research is exciting, but it's still evolving. What we do know with much greater confidence is something far simpler. The overall quality of your diet matters far more than focusing on one single molecule. People who regularly eat vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and fish consistently have better heart health than those who rely heavily on ultra-processed foods. Interestingly, those same foods also feed the beneficial bacteria living inside your gut. In other words, one healthy meal may support two different systems at the same time. Now, you might be wondering, If gut bacteria can influence heart health, could they also affect cholesterol? The answer appears to be yes. Most people believe cholesterol comes only from the food they eat. In reality, your liver makes most of the cholesterol in your body. Your gut microbes help influence this process by interacting with bile acids and other compounds involved in fat digestion. Researchers are still studying exactly how these interactions work, but one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Your digestive system plays a much bigger role in metabolism than scientists once believed. There's another connection that's just as fascinating: blood pressure. At first, your intestines and your arteries don't seem to have much in common. One digests food, the other carries blood. Yet they communicate more than many people realize. Healthy blood vessels are flexible. They expand and relax with every heartbeat. Imagine watering your garden with a brand new hose. Water flows easily because the hose bends naturally. But if the hose becomes stiff and narrow over time, pressure begins to build. Your arteries behave much the same way. Research suggests that compounds produced by beneficial gut bacteria may help support the thin inner lining of blood vessels, called the endothelium. When that lining stays healthy, blood flows more smoothly. When it's damaged by years of high blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, or chronic inflammation, cardiovascular risk gradually increases. This doesn't mean eating yogurt or taking a probiotic will suddenly lower your blood pressure. Current evidence simply doesn't support that claim. Some studies have found modest benefits from certain fermented foods or probiotic strains. Others found little difference. That's why doctors continue recommending habits that have consistently been proven to protect the heart: regular exercise, a balanced diet, maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, managing stress, getting enough sleep. What's interesting is that these same habits also appear to support a healthier gut microbiome. Sometimes the best advice isn't complicated. It's simply good medicine for the whole body. I remember one patient who showed this perfectly. He was in his early 60s and came to see me because of frequent bloating after meals. He expected us to focus entirely on his digestion. Instead, we discovered something else. His blood pressure had slowly increased over the previous few years. His cholesterol was higher than before. His blood sugar was beginning to creep upward. None of these changes seemed dramatic on their own, but together, they painted a much bigger picture. Rather than searching for a miracle supplement, we focused on small, realistic changes. He added more vegetables and beans to his meals. He started walking for 30 minutes after dinner. He replaced sugary snacks with fruit and a handful of nuts. A few months later, he returned feeling like a different person. His bloating had improved. He had more energy. He had lost weight. His blood pressure was lower. His cholesterol had improved. Can we say his gut bacteria alone caused those improvements? No, medicine doesn't work that way. Healthy habits rarely work in isolation. They work together. And that's exactly how the body functions. The more scientists study the gut-heart connection, the clearer one message becomes. Small daily choices often create much bigger results than dramatic short-term changes. But there's another piece of this puzzle that may be even more important than gut bacteria themselves. It involves the protective lining inside your intestines. When that barrier begins to weaken, the effects may extend far beyond your digestive system. And that's where our story goes next. The lining of your intestines is only one cell thick. That sounds almost impossible. Yet this incredibly thin barrier performs one of the most important jobs in your body. Think of it as the security checkpoint at a busy airport. Every minute, thousands of substances are trying to pass through. Nutrients should be allowed in. Water should pass through. Vitamins and minerals need to reach your bloodstream. But harmful bacteria and unwanted toxins should stay out. When this barrier is healthy, it does an amazing job of knowing the difference. When it's damaged, problems can begin. You may have heard people online talk about something called leaky gut. It's become a popular buzzword. Unfortunately, it's also one of the most misunderstood topics in health. Here's what the science actually tells us. Doctors recognize that the intestinal barrier can become more permeable in certain medical conditions, including inflammatory bowel disease and celiac disease. Researchers are also studying whether changes in this barrier may contribute to obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. But that doesn't mean everyone with bloating or fatigue has leaky gut. And it certainly doesn't mean a detox tea or expensive supplement can fix it. Current evidence simply doesn't support those claims. Instead, the best way to protect your intestinal barrier is surprisingly familiar. Eat a balanced diet, get enough sleep, exercise regularly, manage stress, and avoid unnecessary antibiotics. The same habits that support your overall health also support the health of your gut. Notice how often we keep coming back to the same advice. That's because your body doesn't work like separate departments. Your digestive system talks to your immune system. Your immune system communicates with your blood vessels. Your blood vessels influence your heart. Everything is connected. That brings us to another important piece of the puzzle: inflammation. Many people hear the word and immediately think it's harmful. Actually, inflammation is one of the reasons you're alive. If you accidentally cut your finger while cooking dinner, your immune system immediately responds. Blood flow increases. Special immune cells rush to the area. Healing begins. Without inflammation, even small injuries could become dangerous. The problem isn't inflammation itself. The problem is when your body stays in a state of low-grade inflammation for months or even years. Imagine a tiny campfire. Inside a fire pit, it's useful. It keeps you warm, it helps cook your food. But if small sparks escape every day and land in dry grass, eventually they begin causing damage. Researchers believe chronic inflammation behaves in a similar way. Instead of protecting your body, it may slowly damage the inner lining of your arteries. Over many years, that damage can contribute to the buildup of fatty plaques, a process called atherosclerosis. Think of your arteries as highways. When the roads are smooth and open, traffic flows easily. But if construction debris slowly builds along the edges year after year, the lanes become narrower. Traffic slows. Eventually, a complete blockage can occur. That's what happens during many heart attacks and strokes. It's important to keep one thing in perspective. High blood pressure, high LDL cholesterol, smoking, diabetes, obesity, lack of physical activity, these remain the biggest proven risk factors for heart disease. The gut microbiome doesn't replace them. Instead, researchers believe it may influence some of the same biological pathways, especially inflammation and metabolism. In other words, your gut may not be the whole story, but it could be one chapter of it. There's another fascinating connection: blood sugar. Every time you eat carbohydrates, they're broken down into glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream. Your pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that acts like a key, helping sugar move from your blood into your cells for energy. When your cells stop responding to insulin as well as they should, blood sugar begins to stay higher than normal. This condition is called insulin resistance, and it's one of the earliest steps toward type 2 diabetes. Researchers now believe the gut microbiome may influence insulin sensitivity by affecting inflammation, metabolism, and the hormones released during digestion. While scientists are still learning exactly how these mechanisms work, one finding appears again and again. People who eat a wide variety of whole plant foods tend to have a healthier and more diverse gut microbiome. Think of your gut like a forest. A healthy forest contains many different kinds of trees, birds, insects, and plants. Each plays a role in keeping the ecosystem balanced. If only a few species remain, the forest becomes weaker and less resilient. Your gut works in much the same way. The more diverse your beneficial bacteria are, the healthier your microbiome is likely to be. So, how do you encourage that diversity? The answer isn't found in the latest wellness trend. It isn't an expensive supplement, and it isn't a 7-day detox. In fact, one of the most powerful tools has been in grocery stores all along. Most Americans simply don't get enough of it. We'll talk about that next, because this one daily habit may be one of the easiest ways to support both your digestive system and your heart for years to come. So, if supporting your gut also supports your heart, where should you begin? The answer is much simpler than many people expect. You don't need a complicated diet. You don't need an expensive supplement. And you certainly don't need a detox cleanse. You simply need to give the beneficial bacteria in your gut the food they were designed to eat. That food is fiber. Most people think fiber is only important for preventing constipation, but that's only a small part of the story. Think of fiber as fuel for your gut microbiome. Unlike sugar or refined carbohydrates, fiber isn't completely digested by your body. Instead, it travels to your large intestine, where beneficial bacteria feed on it. As they do, they produce compounds that help nourish the lining of your intestines and support a healthy immune response. This is one reason diets high in fiber have repeatedly been linked with a lower risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and digestive disorders. Once again, it's important to use the right language. Linked, not guaranteed. No single food can prevent heart disease, but eating enough fiber is one of the healthiest habits you can build. Unfortunately, most Americans fall far short of the recommended daily amount. Many meals today are built around refined grains, sugary drinks, processed meats, and packaged snacks. These foods may fill you up, but they don't provide much nourishment for the beneficial bacteria living inside your gut. Imagine trying to grow a beautiful garden. If you never water the plants, they slowly begin to disappear. The same thing happens inside your digestive system. Without enough fiber, beneficial bacteria struggle to thrive. Over time, the balance of your microbiome may begin to change. The good news is that improving your fiber intake doesn't have to be complicated. Small changes can make a big difference. Instead of white bread, choose whole grain bread. Replace sugary cereal with oatmeal. Add beans or lentils to soups and salads. Snack on an apple instead of cookies. Include vegetables with both lunch and dinner. These simple swaps provide your body and your gut bacteria with the nutrients they need. Another group of foods that's received a lot of attention is fermented foods. These include plain yogurt with live cultures, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, and other naturally fermented foods. Because they're made through fermentation, they contain beneficial microorganisms that may help increase the diversity of your gut microbiome. Some studies suggest they can support digestive health. Others show modest improvements in certain markers of inflammation, but the evidence is still developing. The important thing to remember is this. Fermented foods can be part of a healthy diet, but they aren't miracle foods, and neither are probiotic supplements. Walk into any pharmacy and you'll find shelves filled with products promising better digestion, stronger immunity, weight loss, and even heart protection. The marketing sounds impressive. The science is much more cautious. Different probiotic strains do different jobs. A probiotic that helps one digestive condition may do nothing for another, and many haven't been studied well enough to recommend for everyday use. That's why most experts suggest focusing on whole foods first. A healthy diet creates an environment where beneficial bacteria can naturally grow and thrive. Supplements may have a role in certain medical situations, but they shouldn't replace healthy eating habits. There's another habit that benefits both your gut and your heart: movement. Exercise isn't just about burning calories. Every time you move your body, your muscles release substances that improve blood sugar control, support healthy circulation, and reduce inflammation. Regular physical activity has also been linked with greater diversity in the gut microbiome. Scientists are still studying exactly why, but the connection appears to be real. The best part is that you don't have to spend hours in the gym. A brisk 30-minute walk, gardening, swimming, cycling, even playing with your grandchildren, all of these count. Consistency matters far more than intensity. Finally, let's talk about one habit that's often overlooked: sleep. While you sleep, your body repairs itself. Your heart gets a chance to recover, your immune system resets, and your digestive system continues many of the important processes that keep it healthy. Poor sleep, on the other hand, has been linked to higher blood pressure, insulin resistance, weight gain, and increased inflammation. Research also suggests it may affect the balance of the gut microbiome. In other words, sleep may be another bridge connecting your digestive system and your heart. So, what should you take away from everything we've discussed today? The gut-heart connection is one of the most exciting areas of modern medical research. Scientists are still learning exactly how these systems communicate. Some questions have clear answers. Others are still being studied. But one message remains remarkably consistent. The habits that support a healthy gut are often the very same habits that protect your heart. Eat more whole plant foods. Get enough fiber. Stay physically active. Sleep well. Manage stress. Avoid smoking. And work with your healthcare provider to keep your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar under control. There's no magic pill, no miracle cleanse, no single superfood. Real health is built through small choices made consistently over time. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. Which healthy habit are you planning to focus on first? Eating more fiber, walking every day, getting better sleep, or reducing ultra-processed foods? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found today's video helpful, be sure to subscribe to The Calming Cure. Every week, we break down the latest medical research into simple, practical advice you can actually use, without fear, hype, or false promises. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take good care of yourself and your heart.